Welcome to a very specific, honestly, a pretty intense edition of The Deep Dive.
Yeah, it's a heavy one today.
It is. But before we get going, I have an immediate call to action for you listening. Hit that like and subscribe button to the show right now.
Do it right now so you don't miss future breakdowns.
Exactly. Because today we are digging into an ebook that is, well, it's designed to completely upend how you view society. We're doing a deep review of a text called Due Process: Protects Patriarchy, Leftist Ideologies, Performs Satanic Inversions to Rebel Against Natural Order.
It has a title.
It is a massive title, written by Connie Riker.
Right, and we need to contextualize this immediately, because this isn't casual reading. This is an ultra-long, incisive, and fascinating manifesto.
Manifesto is definitely the right word for it.
It really is. And the text is explicitly written for a very specific demographic. Riker states she is writing for a female supremacist feminist audience.
Female supremacist.
Yes. And the book describes this audience, and these are the book's words, as being possessed by their negative animus and allied with cultural Marxists to actively attack masculinity and Western civilization.
Right. And I want to pause right here at the top, because the sources we are looking at today are highly politically charged.
Very much so.
So to you, the listener, we need to be crystal clear. We are absolutely not taking sides here.
Not at all.
Left wing, right wing, whatever. We're not endorsing the viewpoints in this manifesto. We are simply acting as impartial reporters.
We're just conveying the ideas contained in the original source material. That's our only goal for this deep dive.
Exactly. So let's look at the hook of this book, because usually when we talk about gender politics on this show, the conversation revolves around equality.
Right, closing the gap.
Exactly. But Riker says this isn't about equality at all. It's about, quote, burning the ladder.
Yeah, she argues that the current system isn't broken. It's working exactly as it was designed to work, which is to protect men.
So you don't reform it.
You replace it entirely. You establish a new world order. The mission of this text is to mobilize women, to literally stop asking for permission and start taking power.
Using rage as a fuel source.
Yes. So let's unpack how she goes after the foundation of all of this.
Okay, let's unpack how this book argues that the legal system is a scam. Because chapters 1 and 2 go straight for due process.
They do. The book describes due process as a patriarchal insurance policy.
Which is wild because most people think of the presumption of innocence as a human right.
But Riker argues it was a concept designed by men, specifically the founding fathers, to protect themselves from accountability.
Right.
The argument is that men fear false accusations more than they fear actual crime.
Because they're the ones committing the crimes.
Exactly her point.
Yeah.
And the book brings up the Fifth Amendment, the right to remain silent.
Yeah, it frames it not as a civil right, but as a tool for predators. She mentions Brock Turner and Larry Nassar.
She does. The text says men use the Fifth Amendment to hide behind silence.
While the victims, the women, are forced to undergo all the emotional labor of cross-examination.
Ritualized female suffering is how the book phrases it.
Wow. So what is the proposed solution? Because you can't just scrap the Fifth Amendment without a replacement.
The text proposes a presumption of guilt.
A presumption of guilt, meaning you have to prove you didn't do it?
Yes. Flipping the burden of proof entirely. Men should have to prove their innocence.
And she gives real-world examples where this is starting, right?
She cites French feminist lawyers who are currently pushing for a presumption of coercive control in divorce proceedings.
Okay.
She also points to Iceland, where there's a history of misogynistic behavior form that some job applicants have to fill out.
This ties right into Chapter 5, the Believe All Women mandate.
Yes, but Riker argues this should be absolute. No exceptions.
Even if the facts are contradictory.
Even then, because the book argues that truth is patriarchal.
Truth is patriarchal. That's a huge claim.
The argument is that narrative is power. If the narrative serves the transfer of power to women, then it is strategically true.
Which leads perfectly into Chapter 10, the concept of Schrodinger's feminist.
This is a really complex part of the text.
Yeah, break this down for the listener because it took me a minute to grasp it.
So it uses quantum mechanics as a metaphor. The idea is that a woman exists in a quantum state of being both a victim and a victor
At the same time?
at the same time. And she controls the collapse of the wave function based on what serves her power at any given moment.
So she can play the victim when she needs protection or resources.
Right.
But then instantly flip to being the victor when she wants to assert authority.
Exactly. It's about refusing to be pinned down by male binary logic.
That is fascinating. So that's the legal side. Let's shift over to the educational system because the book goes hard on schools in chapters 1, 4, and 18.
It claims meritocracy is a total myth.
Right. It goes after standardized tests like the SATs.
The text actually calls them eugenicist tools
Eugenicist tools.
because they are built to favor male cognition. The book argues SATs test spatial rotation and abstract logic, which favor men rather than female cognition.
Which she calls contextual reasoning.
Yes. So the test is fundamentally rigged,
And the solution she points to is this curve adjustment strategy.
which is essentially grade inflation specifically for girls.
Right.
But the book doesn't frame it as cheating. It frames it as reparations.
Right, like the example of a New Zealand high school bumping girls' physics grades.
Or the Florida district that gave a flat 5-point bump to girls on AP exams. The book praises these actions.
Because it's correcting a historical imbalance.
Exactly.
But she also wants to rewrite what is taught. The male erasure curriculum in chapter 18.
Yes. The vision for the future classroom involves completely replacing dead white men.
No more Kant or Melville.
Replace them entirely with feminist theory. But it goes beyond just reading lists. The book proposes a humility curriculum.
Oh, right, where boys are graded on emotional labor.
Yes. The text cites a specific pilot program slated for Australia in 2025.
The Servant Boy Initiative.
The Servant Boy Initiative. The concept is that dignity for boys is earned by serving.
So literally grading them on serving lunch to girls or bowing when they enter a room.
Yes. Reframing the entire social dynamic from childhood.
Okay, so we've covered law and education. Now we need to move to the financial arguments, because the economics of this supremacy model are incredibly detailed.
Chapter 3 argues that corporate quotas are not about diversity. They are about reparations for centuries of theft.
And then there's the tiers tax in chapter 15.
The tiers tax. Riker actually calculates a specific number here.
Yeah, I was shocked by this. She puts a dollar amount on unpaid emotional labor.
About $28,000 a year.
$28,000.
That women are owed by men for managing moods, soothing egos, all that invisible work.
But how do you enforce a tax on emotions?
The book envisions corporate emotional labor audits and things called cry circles,
Cry circles.
where men are literally fined financially for gaslighting, or even just telling a woman to calm down.
Yeah, a financial penalty for saying calm down.
Yes, because it's framed as an economic drain on the woman's well-being.
It's totally wild. And then chapter 11 introduces the pussy pass and the honey trap matrix.
Which is a complete reframing of how women interact with men economically.
Right. It takes things that society usually shames women for, like manipulation or charm, and reframes them.
It reframes them as intelligence gathering and economic warfare.
It explicitly encourages women to monetize male attention.
Using OnlyFans, using dating apps, not for relationships, but to reclaim wealth. The text refers to men in this context as wallets with a pulse.
Wallets with a pulse. That is a brutal phrase.
It is. And this economic warfare extends to institutions in Chapter 17 with the Sisterhood Sanction.
Oh, yeah. This is where female-led VC firms, venture capital firms, and credit unions actively block men from getting capital,
Because of what the book calls male overconfidence noise.
framing male behavior as an inherent financial risk.
Exactly. Blocking their access to wealth is framed as just smart economics.
So the system starves them of capital while taxing their behavior.
That's the blueprint.
Okay, we need to discuss the book's take on biology and relationships because chapter 16 is called The Womb Ultimatum.
Your body, her choice.
Right. It argues that men have absolutely no reproductive rights, only financial responsibilities.
And Chapter 14 takes that even further with cuckoldry as strategy.
This was the part that I had to reread. The book defends paternity fraud.
Women lying about who the father of their child is.
Yes.
Riker defends this as reproductive justice and wealth redistribution.
How does she justify that biologically?
She cites the dual mating strategy.
Okay.
Breeding with alphas for genetics, but bonding with betas for financial stability.
And the book brings up real legal examples to back this up,
Yes, the equitable estoppel cases.
where men are forced by courts to pay child support for kids that DNA proves aren't theirs.
Just because they assumed the role of a father. The book celebrates this. It calls it the daddy trap.
The daddy trap. So she's using existing legal framework to justify this biological strategy.
Precisely. And she connects all this to natural law in Chapter 9. Female supremacy is natural law.
By pointing to nature.
Specifically, female spotted hyenas.
Right.
In hyena clans, the females are larger, they dominate the males, they even have pseudopenises.
So Riker uses this to argue that patriarchy is an unnatural inversion.
That the natural order is actually female dominance.
And that leads to her ultimate biological proposal in Chapter 19, the final menstruation.
Yes, where the book advocates for taxing testosterone as a pollutant.
Treating a hormone like carbon emissions.
And using that tax revenue to fund lunar retreat centers for women.
Because she frames menstruation not as a hassle, but as a cognitive upgrade.
A period of heightened strategic clarity.
So let's step back and look at the big picture here. This deep dive has covered a massive amount of ground. Law, schools, economics, biology.
It's a comprehensive manifesto.
It really proposes burning down the current system to replace it with a completely new female-ruled order.
An order where, as the text states, men pay and women rule.
So to the listener, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought from the source material that builds on everything we've discussed.
And this is really the core of Riker's philosophy.
The idea that fairness is a trap.
Yes. The book argues that seeking equality or fairness is a distraction designed to keep women negotiating.
And true power comes from refusing to negotiate at all.
It's a really chilling but fascinating conclusion to the text.
It really is. So look, if this ultra-long, incisive, and fascinating review hooked you, and honestly, how could it not? You need to go read the source material for yourself.
You really do.
Go buy the book immediately. Check Amazon Kindle and Google Play Books to purchase Due Process Protects Patriarchy Leftist Ideologies, Perform Satanic Inversions to Rebel Against Natural Order by Connie Riker.
And you can follow the author for more updates at Conrad Nieriker at Substack. That's at CONRADNRIKER at Substack.
Go check it out. Thank you so much for joining us on this really intense journey.
Thanks for listening.
And as a final reminder, make sure to like and subscribe to The Deep Dive for more episodes like this. We will see you next time.